Sagittarius, welcome back. We are doing what you need to know right now. Okay. Your guys' energy is a little bit different from Scorpio. So we went from like really nice energy to it's not bad. It's giving overstimulated. That's what it's giving. Overstimulated. Sorry, I took down my AC because it got cold, but then like 2 days in a row it got really hot, and so I put my window back up, but I didn't put like the covering on the side, like the cardboard. So I have flies in my room now, which I'm really upset about, but I digress. I think it's like gonna be like 70 something today and 70 something tomorrow. And then after that, I'll take it down because it's going to like drop to the 50s or 60s, which I'm excited for. Anyway, Sagittarius, we have forgiveness. Forgiveness. There's a need right now, Sagittarius, to finally release things. Parts that you played in situations where, you know, a lot of times where we behave a certain way, you can even call them toxic, but sometimes we behave a certain way because that's how we have to defend ourselves in certain situations. And there's a guilt. There's a guilt with like, oh, my children saw that, or my children went through that, or, you know, I played a part in this as well. And feeling the guilt of like things that you've had to do or go through or allow people to see because that's just the way it went, right? Or behaviors that you've done that at a time maybe you were unhealed, you were triggered. A lot of times we do stuff because we are being it's called, what is it called, I can't remember the word, but it's basically when somebody is trying to trigger you and they finally do, and it's called abusive reaction, abuse reaction. I can't remember what it's called exactly. And then we don't like that we are reacting that way because that's not who we are. But at the same time, a person can only take so much, right? So I feel like there's a lot that's been going on that you're still holding on to just a little bit of. I do also feel like there's people that are going to come in that are wanting forgiveness. Some are sincere and some are not. So I would just be very wary of that. But there is a need of both. Okay. Understanding that everything that has happened, and even when you've had to go through something difficult, let's say it was in front of your kids or people that you didn't want it to deal, you know, diligence. Yeah. Even when it was around people that you don't want to see, sometimes they are part of the lessons and they have to see that stuff. Sometimes it really is like, look, this is what we don't allow people to do. This is what we don't do. And, you know, learning this kind of behavior will help you in the future because you'll be able to recognize this. You'll be able to recognize when somebody is playing with you, when somebody's mistreating you. This kind of behavior is not okay, and you stopping that behavior is the most important thing. It's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. I don't know what it is. It's like a pose. It's like it's something that Danny Trejo says. And he says, Danny Trejo has a clause in his contract that if he plays a bad guy, he has to die in that movie. Like, he's not surviving. He's not. He needs people to know, especially children that see that movie or young teens, that the bad guy doesn't win. So he has a clause, and if you look at his movies where he's the bad guy, he always dies. He even dies in dude, what's that movie with Salma Hayek? I can't remember. I can't remember. There's too many things going on. I can't remember. But he dies. He anytime he's a bad guy, he ends up dying because he doesn't want people or kids or teenagers to think that the good guy wins, right? And that's just his morals. Those are his morals. Whether they're right or wrong, those are his morals, right? And so the most important part is not necessarily what they went through. The most important part is them seeing you stand up for yourself, change, be better, and make sure that those people either don't have contact with you or justice comes to you, if that makes sense. Okay? With diligence. Forgiveness and diligence. Continuing to, it's just literally looking above, soaring above, and seeing the truth of what everything was for and why it was for. Right? If you understand the lesson and then teach somebody else the lesson, then two people have learned a lesson. Seeing a higher perspective. But this, honestly, with this diligence, you moving forward and you pushing forward and continuing to try to not necessarily take out of your mind what happened, but showing yourself that that wasn't the person who you really are, or continuing to try to be a better person, continuing to try to heal what allowed that to happen, right? And that is bringing you happiness because you've kept on working on yourself. You kept on working on the things you need to work on, and you've kept on showing up for yourself in a way where you weren't going to allow yourself to be changed. You weren't going to allow your heart to be changed. There's a phrase I used, and that isn't it. Anyway, we'll leave it at that. You were not gonna be you weren't gonna allow your heart to be changed or tainted, right? All right, let's see. Let's go deeper. Yeah, it's very quiet in your energy. I'm actually going to take these two. They popped out and then popped back in, but they're still sticking there. The Seven of Swords. Yep. The Seven of Swords in reverse. Forgiveness. And then Justice in reverse. It feels like there was a lot of fuckery that went on. There was a lot of just treachery, theft, stealing, ABUSIVE or ABUSE. And you felt like you never got justice for that. And I did hear for some of you guys, you this was you. And if that's the case, I mean, like, everybody is a villain at one point in their life. I was a toxic one. Well, I wasn't the only toxic one in my first marriage, but I was definitely toxic, because I was not uh, self-aware, and I had only seen my parents' toxic relationship. So even though I didn't start the toxicity, I would finish the toxicity, right? I would reach out and behave and was triggered easily. And mind you, the toxicity didn't start with me, but I sure did add to it, right? And that still makes me toxic, because a healthy person, let's say, would see their husband talking to multiple girls, and instead of like getting angry and, like, let's say, shoving them or breaking their phone or like a healthy person would have said, you know what, I'm out, right? And I know at this point in my life, if that ever happened, if I ever get an inkling that you're, hiding something behind my back, I'm out. It's not, oh, I'm going to fight for you. It's not, no, we're not at that point in our lives anymore. At least I'm not. And sometimes you are the problem, and sometimes we deal with people who are the problem. We heal, and then we deal with people who are the problem. And sometimes we allow it because sometimes we still have that shame of having been that person at one point or another, right? But that's something that needs to be let go. I do see that there has been a lot of toxicity here, though. There was a lot of stuff that went on, treachery. Um, there might have even been physical ABUSC. I'm seeing a lot of negative stuff here, and emotional ABUSC. There's even spiritual. There was one person that I dealt with that did all of them: physical, emotional, mental, and was in a spiritual psychosis. So would sit there and light candles and wish upon, like, yeah, like, would wish horrible things. That is spiritual. You're actually making a wish, right? Um, and feeling like you never got the justice. I feel for some of you guys, I think that for some of you guys, you did want justice on people, but I feel for a lot of you guys, what you really wanted was justice of, you know what, like a better life. The best revenge is living your best life. And I feel like for it's been a minute now, and you guys have been very diligent. You guys have been persevering in fixing yourselves and healing yourselves and trying to get healthier, trying to be a better person, even at work, trying to move ahead. And it felt like nothing was moving. Nothing was moving. But your hard work is paying off, and it's moving now. Yeah, look, with the magician in reverse, it felt like you couldn't manifest shit, and you didn't understand why when this was done to you. Yeah, working at it, working hard at everything, and it just felt like you were not getting your justice. But happiness is coming in. It's coming in. I actually want to know, why didn't it come in? Why wasn't justice getting? I just heard for protection, but hang on. Why wasn't justice coming in? I'm hearing a lot of things. I'm hearing there was too much anger, there was too much resentment, that it wouldn't have Six of Swords because you hadn't detached from the pain. And for some of you guys, you hadn't detached from the toxicity. You hadn't moved forward, but now you're moving forward. Now you're moving forward. You had not moved forward. You hadn't walked away from, you hadn't detached from the pain. Possibly some of you guys were still dealing with the toxic situations, dealing with toxic energies. And when you're in pain and hurting, when you come in and you bring things that are blessings, you're gonna mishandle those blessings. Even if they're people, you're gonna mishandle people, you're gonna mishandle money, you're gonna mishandle things because you're still healing. And when you're still healing, you just want to reach out for anything that will make you feel better. When you're healing, you actually have to do that from the inside out, not from the outside in. That's not how it works. And so for a lot of you guys, Sagittarius, you guys were still reaching outwardly to try to find that happiness. If I get money, I'll just feel better. If I go and a lot of people use substances. And I'm not judging you. If you do, you do. That's fine. But that is not healthy, right? What are you gonna do if you get money? You're gonna spend it all on substances. Let me go on to Vegas and blow it up on a big old trip when that money could actually build you your business, and can build you your empire that you could leave for your children. It could be the change that somebody needs in their life, right? That money could start so many other things, and you can help people, because that really is the goal, right? We're all here holding each other's hands, walking hand to hand to the end of this journey. That's what we're doing. That's really what it's about. Let's go a little bit deeper. Sagittarius. Ow. I have cold chills everywhere. Yeah, justice. You're getting justice. Justice. You're getting your justice. Excuse me. Because you had the strength to keep working at it, closing out that cycle of being the victim, but also closing out that cycle of never allowing yourself to be able to be manipulated, maneuvered, never be able to be triggered by anything or anyone. And this is changing your fortune with the 7 of Cups. You'll have so many, so many options. You're going to have an abundance of options and doors available to you with the World here at the bottom. With the World here at the bottom. This is amazing, Sagittarius. But this is something that not only is the universe doing this with the Wheel of Fortune, obviously it's karmic. It feels like you're going from karma to dharma. You're switching from karma to dharma. But because you put in the work and you pushed forward and you pushed forward, even when it was just like nothing was moving, nothing was happening, it felt like you were just doing things to do things. And I see somebody just like breaking down, crying in a fetal position because it felt like nothing was going to happen. Like you felt dumb, which makes me really sad. You felt dumb, like maybe you're just doing this, and it's not meant to be, and you're not meant to be doing what you're doing, and you felt dumb. But that wasn't it. That wasn't it. You had to show yourself that you could fucking persevere, that you could release these negative feelings, these negative thoughts, these thoughts of even like um, guilt, these thoughts of like, even I feel like you had thoughts of anger and resentment and hate towards other people, and you had to release that. You can't bring that to where you're coming. You have to be able to understand the lesson and honestly be grateful for the lesson, not be grateful for the person. Nay, nay. Be grateful for the lesson, because the lesson now taught you never fucking again. You have justice coming in because you had the strength to walk away from the Wheel of Fortune, from cycles that were poisoning you and putting you to sleep. Look at that spindle. And that's opening up so many doors, options, and opportunities. And this is going to be the world for you. This is going to change everything. Cycle closed, new cycle opening. And it feels like you're moving from your karma to your dharma. And if you don't know what dharma is, it's good karma. Basically, what you've put out there, the good that you've done is going to be paid back to you now. But you had to release those seeds of yuck, basically. Because remember, like I said, you can't be giving a gift when you're still angry. What do we do when we're still angry at the world or at the universe, and we're not fully understanding or letting go and finding inner peace, we go and we destroy our dharma. So universe is not going to give you a gift until you like chill the fuck out and understand and wake up and say, okay, I get it. And because of that, you're getting happiness and community. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Wands. If I can pick it up. The Four of Wands. The Four of Wands. Happy home, happy life, coming together, reuniting with your community, with people that are actually going to be there for you, that are not there to teach you harsh lessons, that are there in Dharma. You still learn lessons. You never stop growing, you never stop learning, but you learn lessons in a softer way. You learn through living, you learn through reading, you learn through doing, right? It's like you go to a cooking show, you're learning, right? It's not a hard lesson. It's not somebody's going to come in and sabotage your dish and right? It doesn't mean life doesn't have its challenges. Life is still life. You're still going to have your challenges. But it's not going to be the same with all the treachery and the lies and the, oh, no, no. It's coming, Sagittarius. It's coming. And I can actually feel like my chest, there's like a liftness, a weight lifted off my chest, and I can breathe. All right, Sagittarius, let's get you a postcard from Spirit. This is amazing. Honestly, Sagittarius, this is amazing. Postcard from Spirit. That made me think of Rapunzel. Okay. Let's do it this way. They want to be very exact. See? Alright, 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 alright. Hold up. I'm just getting the top one. Okay, Sagittarius. Dear you, there is only one you, and you have a unique place in the universe. Sometimes situations come up that challenge you to be authentic, and that means you have to be fully yourself and let go of being what you think others may want. Now is not the time to conform to other people's standards or expectations. Be proud of who you are and be courageous. Stand tall in your convictions. Being yourself is a powerful statement and will only lead you to success and ultimately happiness. Don't compare yourself to other people. Want what you have, choose what your heart wants, and know that your purpose is yours and yours alone. No one else can claim your magic nor take it away. When you place authenticity and originality high on your list of priorities and give them a prominent place in your awareness, extraordinary things happen. Your life is a beautiful one. Love you always and forever. Yes, what did I say? It matches perfectly with the reading. I love that. I love that. Sagittarius, I love you guys so much. I hope I helped in some kind of way, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.